Hey, you've just stepped into the Caring Corner, where life's caregiving challenges meet a whole lot of heart and a dash of sass. I'm Michelle O'Neill, and I'm here to serve up insights, inspiration, and real life tools to help you navigate caring for your kids and aging loved ones without forgetting about you. Expect everything from time management hacks and emotional wellness strategies to technology tips sprinkled with humor and tenacity. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Hey, Michelle O'Neill here on the Caring Corner, and I am so excited to have you with us here today. I have a phenomenal guest, Dawne Horizon, who's going to talk to you about how you can take care of yourself and your loved ones through aromatherapy and massage therapy. And I can't wait to get into this topic. But first, let me tell you about Dawne. Dawne Horizon is an internationally acclaimed inspirational speaker, four-time Amazon bestseller author, certified wellness coach, and massage therapist with a helping heart, healing hands, and a voice that inspires. She uses all of her God given gifts to help others live a life of wholeness and wellness by teaching them how to nurture spirit, soul, and body naturally. She's a products and services based company and serves in the DMV area. Dawne, I am welcoming you here on the stage. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Just give us a shout out.
Hey there, everyone, at the Caring Corner. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Oh, it is a pleasure. I can't wait for us to dive into this subject. And so, before we start, I want to learn a little bit about you and exactly what you do. So, can you share with us a little about you? And I'm going to make it a little harder for you. A pivotal moment in your journey that led you to focus on massage and aromatherapy to help assist with pain, with pleasure, and productivity. And one more, and you can ask me again later, how has this shaped your approach or philosophy?
Wow, that was truly a mouthful. Thankful for the opportunity to share with you and with your audience. I'm Dawne Horizons. I am a mother. I am a grandma, I call it. I told my son I'm too hot to be a grandma. So I'm a grandma of four beautiful girls. I'm just loving life, loving my children, my grandchildren, love what it is that I am called to do. And I am called to help to transform women from the inside out with what I like to call God's medicine. So the aromatherapy that Michelle talked about is what I call God's medicine because he breathed into the trees, the shrubs, the plants, the everything, and he put healing and medicinal power in them. And so when we partake of these essential oils, natural remedies, plant substances, they are able to work in line with our body, in tandem with our body, and help to bring healing to our soul, to our cells. And so, really, they help our body to function the way that it was created to function. A pivotal moment for me was back in the year 2000. You know, when I say that, I feel so old. 2024, like this was a pivotal moment in the year 2000. I'll tell you really quickly. I was an administrative assistant for three doctors at a medical research company. I had gone to lunch at the university hospital. They serve good food. And I was walking out one day and I had an epiphany. It was something like happened in a movie before where you're walking past people and you begin to see inside of them. So I began to feel what these people were feeling that were passing me by. It was a university hospital during lunchtime. I'm leaving out the main entrance of the hospital, so you can imagine there were literally hundreds of people coming in and out at any given time. And it was so intense in that moment. I was literally feeling pain and pressure and just seeing like into people's lives. It was scary. It was weird. I had never experienced anything like that. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? Make it stop. And I heard a voice say, I heard God's voice say, tell them. And I'm looking around like, what? Like, tell what? I'm like, tell what? And he was like, you have the answer. And I'm thinking, who, me? So what I had saw that was like the breaking point in that moment was there was a lady that was passing by. She probably was, if I could guess, 350 to 400 pounds walking by. She was a very large woman. She had on a long skirt, but I could see through her skirt to her legs and to see that she had what they call elephantitis. So her thighs, her large thighs, were the same size going all the way down to her ankles. And I
Mm.
felt the pressure that she must have been feeling and the pain. And it was so intense. It was as if a balloon was blown to its fullest capacity, and one more breath of air, it was going to just pop. And that's what I felt with her. It was so intense. I was like, God, make it stop. And when it stopped, he said, tell them. I'm like, tell them what? Tell her what? I'm like, am I supposed to go run after her or what? No, he was opening my mind, my spirit, my heart that day to say, I have put something inside of you. I have given you the answers to help people with their health issues, physiologically as well as emotionally, mentally. And I want you to tell them. So that day, little did I know then, was my launch. That was my initial launch, which started on the inside of me long before I started a business. That was in 2000. I didn't actually start my business until 2006. From 2000 to 2006 was a learning journey in who I am, what I was called to do, and then learning the actual things that he wanted me to go and tell people. So from 2006 to now, it's been on like buttered popcorn.
Wow. So one of the things is I want everyone to forgive me. I don't know if you noticed, but I was having some technical difficulties here with our platform. So, but what you said was so phenomenal. I'm like, I'm not gonna go back. I'm not gonna worry about that. Hey, I know you heard her. So, if you can do me a favor and just slide a little to the side because I am blocking off part of your face. So, if
Oh,
you can do that, there. I just
one
don't want
side
to
or the
block you. I don't want to block that beautiful. There you go. I do not want to block that beautiful face. And where it says there, hello, gorgeous. That's Dawne.
yes.
Hello, gorgeous girl. So, wow, wow. All I can say is wow. I totally get it, and the fact that you were obedient
Yeah.
and in what you felt that what you felt you heard and you were called to do, regardless of what someone feels or thinks. What really stood out to me is that you were obedient into what you felt was the calling on your life and what you
Yeah.
felt God has given you. And so I kudos, girl. I really give you kudos for that. But also, um, just the fact that you waited and you allowed yourself to do some growth in the process. You didn't just jump out there thinking that you knew it all and all that, but you allowed the space for growth
Yeah.
and you allowed the space for clarification and hearing more. So I really love that you did that, because in that way you can serve others better when you know that you're getting good, the right direction and everything. So with that said, how has that really approached, dealt with your approach and your philosophy moving forward? You know,
It
I'm
has
not
really
sure you
been.
answered that one, so that's why I
Mhm.
want to hit on that.
Yeah,
How
that's
has it moved
fine.
you forward?
It has really been a learning journey for me, not just like learning myself and these various modalities that God has given to me, because a lot of it was put in me since a child, or I could say even before I got here. So I had a client ask me a few years ago, well, when did you start massaging? And up until that moment, I hadn't given it serious thought. I just do what I'm called to do. And when I really thought about it, I was like 6 years old. I started massaging my mom and my grandma at 6 years old. Look, I was doing Thai massage then. I was walking on her back and cracking her back and doing all kinds of stuff. So it really was something, in me to do. And I had a love for it, but I didn't know because it was a great space of time, right? Between 6 years old or my teenage years and then into adulthood when I had this epiphany. I was about 30, 31 years old. when I had that epiphany.
Wow.
Um,
Yes.
so it's been a journey, but it's been a great journey. I'm learning people and just learning how to talk to them, to help them, because even though we may be going through the same or similar scenario, we are so different. And how people handle things, handle stress, handle caregiving is so different from one to the next. So I've learned in this time how to be able to talk to different peoples. And the first example that comes to mind is actually a biblical reference. In the New Testament, Paul says, when with the Romans, I speak as the Romans. When with the Greeks, I speak as the Greeks. And so, what that means to us in layman's terms is not necessarily being all things to all people, but being able to speak their language, being able to understand what they're saying, and filtering that not just through everything that you've gone through, but understanding they have gone through some things. And that's why they present or they speak the way that they do, and being able to help them in the space and time that they're at presently when you have the opportunity to work with them. And it has been such a joy for me, honestly. It has been such a joy.
And that's when you said that, two things came to my mind because there's two things I live by. Always ask myself whenever you feel yourself getting envious or jealous of someone, you the first question I feel you should ask yourself is, are you willing to walk in their shoes?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't know what they went through to get where they are. And even though it looks pretty, it's like your social media feed, even though it looks great and pretty and everybody thinks you got all that in a bag of chips, they don't know what you're dealing with behind scene every day and day. My
That's right.
women, exactly, my caregivers, you see her at work, you see her killing it being boss lady, you see her with her kids out to whatever, but you don't know the struggles that she has when she's home, when she's taking care of her loved one, when
Right.
she's tired. You don't know everything she goes with. And then the second thing that really stood out to me was, you talked about being being what that person is, or hearing their voice. And again, I asked myself, you know, when you talk to a person and you're making a judgment, again, you don't know their story.
That's right.
And so my goal is always to find out their story. Find out what their real story is. Their story is what shaped that person. Their story is how they formulate every thought, deed, action that they do. So find out their story. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. So that was good. So,
Yeah.
with that said, considering the challenges that women face, my women, juggling their generational caregiving and the personal ambitions and the professional responsibilities, what common obstacles do they encounter regarding their health and their wellness, and that of those that you serve? The things
Mhm.
that you specifically can speak to on that. Could you help us out here? Could you suggest actual strategies for overcoming these particular challenges?
Yes, I find that because, as you know, I've been a caregiver. Well, your audience may not know, but I was a caregiver to my mom with early onset dementia for almost 10 years.
Mhm.
Had to bring her from where she lived in New York to Virginia to live with me to care for her because she had become a danger to herself. She
Wow.
was about 56 or just turning 56 years old when I had
Young.
to make the decision. Exactly. It was early
Mhm.
onset, to make the decision to take her and to keep her. And it was a tough decision. And as a single divorced mom, only 2 years in a new state, starting over life, this was a huge, huge ask. This was a huge task. But I love my mom. She always been there for me. She was my biggest cheerleader. She was my biggest supporter. And so it was no question of really should I do it. I just needed to pray about it and know, okay, God, are you on board with this? Are you going to help me? Because I cannot do this by myself. And I can say He was really helpful. And so what I find is myself, and since then I've been helping people that are caregivers. It's the busyness of life. It's being so busy with work. Um, career, children, and whoever you're caring for is taking time for yourself. It's even keeping up on your own medical appointments and things. Like, it's the practical things. It's not just the self-care, taking a bath, going to get a massage, getting your nail done. All those things are great. All those things are important, but it's the little things. It's even being able to get up in the morning and saying, you know what? This is going to be a good day. I declare it's going to be a good day. I'm not going to let the day happen to me. I'm taking charge over the day. And that's something that we need to do. And there are days that is really hard. And you don't necessarily want to, and you wonder, what is the day going to entail? But when you start the day on a positive note and you're like, I'm going to take charge and I'm going to handle this day, kind of like the bull and the cowboy or cowgirl with the lasso, you're controlling the day. And I think people lose sight of that, but we really can. Of course, there's different nuances and things that may happen throughout the day that are unexpected. But when you start the day grounded, if you will, when you start the day having that mindset that I am controlling my day, I'm going to do what I need to do today, you have more of a balance, and you're able to kind of project the day as far as the day instead of the day happening to you and you having to handle and juggle all of those different things. So I think it's the busyness of life that we all go through. So for me, oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is being able to exhale, being able to safely share what it is that you're feeling, because I'm a strong woman and there are many other strong women around me, but sometimes the strong ones, we need to not be so strong. I'm not always strong because I want to be. That I can tell you, there's days I was like, God, like, I don't want to be the strong one, raising my hand, I don't want to be the strong one no more. But that's how he built me. But it's finding a safe place. Where can I go as a strong woman on a weekday, on a WEAK day, on a day that I'm not feeling my best, on the day when I'm not feeling so strong, where I don't want to encourage someone else. I want someone to encourage me, even though it comes naturally for me. So I think a lot of women go through this, and I can tell you what worked for me. One of them was writing. And that is something I offer as well. I teach it to people. I do it myself, and it's writing. So for me, I'm a poet and an author. So a lot of times when I write, it's coming out poetically. But basically, I'm dumping my thoughts. I'm dumping what is on my heart onto the paper. That way, I don't have to remember it. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to carry it and have it bottled up, or bubbling up inside. I'm releasing it on to the paper. So writing for me, coloring for me, I have people tell me, "Oh, I'm not a writer." You don't have to be a writer. If you need to scribble it with crayons, a pencil, a marker, whatever. If it's bullet points, if it's a number list, like, it doesn't matter. The point is, get it off of your head, get it out of your heart, and get it onto the paper. That helps you. Look at that. That helps you to process. The other thing was the aromatherapy, using the essential oils. Prayer and affirmations is really huge for me. So that's how I typically start my day. The essential oils help me if I'm feeling tired, or overwhelmed or fatigued, or if I have aches and pains, someplace, I'm able to use the oils. They uplift me. They help me to be more productive on days where I feel like, look, I ain't got it together. I don't want to got it together. And I have all this stuff on my desk and I don't have the capacity. My favorite oil for that is lemongrass.
Mm.
Happy smell in a bottle. It is my productivity oil. Like, if something is insurmountable, I'm busting out the lemongrass. I'm putting it on, and I'm putting it in my diffuser. And the next thing you know, that pile that was on my desk is no longer a pile, and I feel relaxed. I also had to learn to breathe, to really breathe from your diaphragm, to take a moment out of the day and just be. And I purpose to myself, okay, in this moment, I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm feeling anxious. So I'll get up, I'll stop what I'm doing, or I'll go to another room, I'll walk outside and just stand at the door and get the fresh air in. Don't go into the kitchen, because then you might grab a snack and it might not be healthy. So don't go into the kitchen, okay? You can go outside and just get some fresh air and just breathe and, like, look around you and know that regardless of what you're going through, you're in this rabbit hole, but the world around you is still going on. And you will continue to go on too if you just breathe. So that's some of my takeaways: is writing, coloring, breathing, taking a breath, go outside, whatever environment has you feeling confused or chaotic. get up and change your environment, and then come back. And when you come back, you are much more able to handle whatever it is. So you leaving is not changing anything, but it's going to change you. So then
Amen to that.
you have a break, and
Yeah.
you're come back with a fresh mind. Maybe you have a new strategy, a new idea, or something refreshed, like, oh, I didn't see that before. And your little 10-minute break lets you just breathe and be present in the moment so you can come back and attack whatever it is. And so that's what I would offer to the women. It
Awesome.
helped me tremendously, and I hope it helps them as well.
Well, we're going to get deeper in this, but there's a couple of things I want to touch on before we move forward. See, so one of the things I noticed you said your declarations declare something. So I don't use affirmations that much with my clients because I use declarations.
Okay.
And the reason I use declarations with my clients is because you can have an affirmation, but a declaration comes with what do they call it? With evidence. So the difference between an affirmation and a declaration is you say, something that's true, but then you back it up with evidence. And so that becomes what you say over your life. You know, it was I today is going to be a great day because every day that I woke up this week, regardless of what was thrown at me, I made it through. See, I've got
Yeah.
my proof. The past proved my future. So I
Yes.
know today is
Yes.
going to be a great day. So that's
Yes.
one of the things that I teach that really stood. And I love the practices because those are practices that I use and do as well. As you saw, I have my little color and I have my little sketchbook over here.
Yes.
That's where I do and I write. So I love those. But could you share a specific strategy? Oh, and peppermint's my oil too. Could you share a specific strategy, tool, or practice
Mm.
that can significantly impact our listeners' quest for balance and emotional wellness in their multifaceted role? This is what I am pushing us all towards is how do we find balance in the midst of this? And I
Mm.
love hearing good strategies, one specific strategy that is like, bam, that's it.
Well, I mean, for me, my strategy is prayer. So whatever you believe in, I believe in God, and whatever it is you believe, pray. Pray to your creator, pray to your higher power, because he knows how he created you and what it is that you're called to do. That's what saved me. That's what helped me. That's what helped me get beyond suicidal ideations. That's what helped me when I feel like what I'm doing is not enough, but I've given all that I can. I don't have more to give. That's what helped me in like my deepest darkest times was prayer. And similar to something else you said, it was similar to what you said about the declarations. It is the track record that I know that I have with God through prayer. He brought me through all of these things before, and so I know I can trust him to bring me through whatever it is that I'm facing now. That's what grounded me. That's what helped me to be stable in unstable moments.
And
That would help my mind not to, go into the deepest depths of depression or anxiety or any of those things. Is knowing, look, he got me through hard times before. I've been through stuff before. I made it. I'm going to get through this. I know he told me to take care of my mom. And so he's going to give me the grace and the strength and everything I need. And he did. And he did, because I wouldn't be here if he didn't. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, here's the other way that like you said, prayer can help you through your life. Remember when Don talked a little bit earlier about the fact that you don't always have to be the strong one, that you need to find someone you can talk to. Well, you can't always trust everyone, and you have to be very selective on
Yes.
who you tell certain things. You don't want it to come back and bite you. So with that said, prayer is your way of talking to someone who can hear you and knows what to do about it. For me, I believe in God. I'm a Christ follower as well. And so for me, it's just important that
I have that conversation. And so what I'm saying is make sure, sometimes if it's writing it down, if it's
Yeah.
writing it down, write it down. But make sure you have that conversation some way, somehow. Don't wait till you can get to someone. Don't wait. There are times, it's so funny. There are times that is like I'm going through and I need to talk to someone. And for me, it's like I can't find nobody.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, oh, duh, prayer. It's like, okay, I hear you. So make sure, for me, that's my morning practice. I need that time of meditation and preparing for my day. So find out what it is you need, to pull yourself back and take that quiet time to talk out what's bothering you. What sometimes it's even going through it ourselves, talking it out to ourselves,
Mhm.
because you're able to hear it in
Yeah.
another form, in another voice. And no, I'm not saying having full conversations with yourself. Now, we're not going that far, but okay. So I love your strategy, because I'm going on and on about it. I know
Mhm.
how important it is, and I know why it's important. Um, and and there's a lot of times we're just too in our head, and we have to
Mhm.
get out of our head. Really,
Absolutely.
we're too close to the subject. I mean, even with me, when I'm working on certain things, before I send it, before I do it, I let my husband look over it, because he's going to see it in a different way than I will. And sometimes you just have to remove yourself from the situation.
Mhm.
So on a more personal note, yeah, girl, we getting personal.
That's okay. I'm an open book. Let's go. Let's go.
What's one piece of advice that you wish you had received earlier in your journey? And
Hmm.
how would it have changed your path?
So earlier in my caregiving journey or earlier in my health and wellness journey, which journey we talk about?
You pick the one that was most profound.
um, that's a difficult question for me. Why? Because I do my best to live a life where I have no regrets. So I really don't have any regrets. I chose to be kind to myself as I was going through, give myself space and grace when I needed it, take the time to read, write, take the time to cry, take the time to just breathe and just be. There were times that I couldn't cry. Like I wanted to, like I felt the emotion and I wrote a poem about it. And it's like my tear ducts are dry. Like
Mhm.
I can't cry even if I wanted to. But it's like, what do I do with that moment? And so in those times, it was prayer. I believe that I did the best that I could at the time with the information that I had, with who I was at that time as I was going through those things. Um, so I made the best choices. I mean, I don't know of anything that I would have said to myself then that would have made it any different because I was going through it one day at a time as best I could.
But
Um,
my question is,
mhm.
what is the one piece of advice you wish you had?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything because
Okay.
I just took my time, you know, going through each time I had, and then I documented it online on Facebook and social media. And I did it for personal reasons so that I knew, Facebook would remind you and show you picture memories and stuff. And I wanted to make sure that I was documenting this journey with my mom for the time when I didn't have her.
Mhm.
And so I'm so glad I did that. But I said that to say I did it for myself. And what I didn't expect was to take so many people on a journey with me. And
Mhm.
so many people being inspired, being empowered, help living vicariously through me because they no longer had, their mom or dad or whatever that they were helping and just seeing how I was handling it. So, um, yeah, I don't have any advice for the the previous me because I just went through one day at a time as best I could. Everyone tells me I did such a great journey. Even the doctors were like, your mom is so lucky, is so blessed to have you. She had no other ailments, just dementia.
Wow.
Just dementia was literally deteriorating her brain, but no high cholesterol, blood pressure, like none of those other things. She was happy. She lived the best quality of life that she could at the time. She took her last breath at home in the bed. So I was there, with her to the very last, and I gave her all I could. I could not have given her more. And like I had my head down, just like in it, right?
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
people on the outside looking in is like, wow, I am so touched by the care that you gave to your mother, or you helped me, or, what do I do? I'm going on this caregiver's journey for this person in my family. And because they literally watched me go through these things, because I showed the good, bad, and the ugly,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because I wanted it to be real. I didn't want it to be REEL, like a real, like you just watching stuff. I wanted it to
Right,
be
right.
REAL, and you to see the personal things. And there were times I needed prayer, and I went up and I was like, need prayer, or pray for me, or my mom. Times I needed stuff from my mom, people sent it to me. So it became a journey of myself and others. Some I didn't even know. Some I
Oh,
didn't
that
even. It was
that
beautiful.
is so powerful, and something that I wish all my listeners would hear. And so, if you're here today, hear this. What most people don't understand is caregiving. For those of us who caregive our parents, our loved ones, whoever needs the caregiving, because it's not just the elderly.
Right.
It could be someone with a disability. It could even be one of your children, but
Mhm.
you are caregiving. And a lot of people don't realize it's born from love.
Yes.
It really is an act and a service of love. Even when you're in the midst, even when you're frustrated, you keep going because of the love.
Hmm.
Even when you don't feel it, it's because of the love. And one of the things I want to impress upon you, we are a quiet minority, but we're growing. I mean, caregiving and the age of people getting older, there are more people getting older. Caregiving is growing. They're saying by 2031 it will be astronomical. And a lot of people who are caregiving won't admit that that's what they're doing. They don't want to take on that stigma or that name.
Hmm.
But if you're caring for a loved one who needs additional care, more care than that, it could be that they can't remember their appointments anymore and you're taking them to appointments. That's caregiving.
Yes. Yes.
What you do every day with your children, that's caregiving. You are
Yes.
giving them care. And so it's not a dirty word.
Right.
It's not something to be ashamed of. In fact, it's something to be proud of,
Yes.
that there's that much love in your heart that you're willing to give a part of yourself to give back the love that was given to you. And even if that person never gave you love, that you're
Hmm.
giving from your heart the love that's there. So never be afraid or ashamed of being a caregiver. I'm
Hmm.
off my soapbox. Sorry
Hmm.
about that. I
And
had to
I want
go
to add
there.
to that, ask for help. Whether you're a full
Absolutely.
time caregiver or a part time caregiver, if you need help, ask for it. Here's one thing I learned: people don't know what you need unless you tell them.
Oh,
And
yes.
not everybody's going to call you and ask. I had some people to call me and ask, and others not. But if I reached out, and I had to be okay with asking for help. I had to be okay. That was something I had to grow in. And I had to be okay with, because I couldn't do it all. After I
Yeah.
did it all and I was depleted, I was like, yeah, this is too much. And I need help. And so
And
I
you
was
know what?
asking for help.
You have to be okay with hearing no too.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean you stop there.
Right. Yep.
A lot of times we take that rejection as a personal rejection.
Hmm.
And you don't know their story. Maybe they had something else,
Yeah.
they just don't let that stop you.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
listen, I just want to tell the people who are listening to those, or those who listen to this, after, just if you have any key takeaways, make sure you put those in the comments. I can't wait to see your comments, and Don and I will comment on them, or talk to you. And I want to thank you, Don. I want to thank you for showing up, for being the phenomenal woman that you are, for sharing your story and sharing your service and your gifts. And so I just want you to tell my listeners how they can connect with you, and how they can explore your work further.
Okay. So that's an easy question. I am Dawne Horizons on all social media. And that's Dawn with an E because I'm extra in a good way, of course. Like the extra cream on top, the extra cherry on top. Yeah, that's me. So you can find me on all social media at Dawne Horizons, and you can find me on my website, dawnehorizons.com.
Awesome, awesome. Look, I really thank you. And we got to talk about them oils. I love lemongrass. In fact, I used to make lemongrass tea, but I don't have a lemongrass oil. So we have to talk about that, because I think I would love to get me a lemongrass oil.
Yes.
We used to actually get the lemongrass, because I used to live in Japan, and we used to actually get the lemongrass, crack it open, and then steep it in the tea, and it would
Oh,
make phenomenal tea, just
yes.
straight for plants. So we need to talk.
Okay.
Listen, um, I want to thank you all for being here with us today. We enjoyed talking to you. I know you have nuggets that you have to take away. But until next time, thank you for being on the Caring Corner. Don, wave with me. Say goodbye. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, that's a wrap for today at the Caring Corner. We've tackled some big topics, but remember, you're not in this alone. Subscribe to keep the wisdom and warmth coming. And stay tuned for amazing guests who'll be joining us to help round out your caregiving toolkit. Catch you next time, and keep conquering those challenges.